You know, this is, excuse me, a damn fine cup of coffee.
Welcome back. Caffeine and Cardboard, episode 9, here with Andrew, Tori, and Eric. Good morning, gentlemen. How are we doing today? Great. Coffee in hand. We're not expecting any DoorDash issues. Nothing. It's going to be just a nice.
We're actually doing this Sunday morning.
On a Sunday morning. Yeah.
Yeah. And I've actually already finished my coffee, so I haven't moved on to alcohol yet, but I am doing water. So
you're a little further ahead than us.
Yeah. The last couple shows have been at night, right?
Yes, they have.
A couple of them. So the drink of choice has changed. So, yeah. So Tori, it is great to have you back. And so, how was the trip?
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. My wife, like I said before, she'd never been anywhere to Europe. She's been, the Caribbean. We went to Australia, so she's been international travel, but she's never been to the UK or anywhere in Europe. So that was great. We went to Spain 4 times. We took a bus to Portugal. Rented a car in France. The eclipse was awesome. So we got to see a lot, and then we went to Omaha Beach and the cemetery, which was incredible. But yeah, overall it was great. Like, I don't have any complaints. That my broken Spanish got us through enough. A lot of people were speaking back in broken English, so we made it work. The only place the language barrier was rough was France. They have a different attitude about Americans, so I did my best. I had a list of phrases I studied, where's the bathroom? How much, can I pay my bill? Blah, blah, blah. And it worked. And I think some of them played like they didn't speak English, and they really did. So I said like half the sentences in English, and they still got it. So I'm like, gotcha, but whatever. It was great. So no complaints. Cruise was drama free. There was no fights, no brawls in the pool deck. Overall, we purchased the cheapest room possible. It was an interior cabin because the airfare was so expensive to get over there. So I'm like, we would normally get a balcony or a window. It was the best sleep I've ever had in my life. There were days we didn't wake up till 10 o'clock. Pitch black, cool air conditioning, no sound. We were low on the deck, so we felt no motion. My wife's like, we're doing this again. Like, from now on, we're just doing interior on the lower decks. I'm like, yeah, we didn't spend a lot of time in the cabin, obviously. So, but once the lights went out and it was bedtime, holy crap, 10, 12 hours of sleep was amazing. So do it again in a heartbeat, but glad to be home. It was a long getting there and getting back, close to 24 hours, in airports both days, it's and then time zone changes. So it's taken about 4 days to get back, but we're back. We're back on schedule now. So good trip though. You guys did a good job. I listened on the pool deck. The Jay interview was good. That was good banter. It was fun to be a viewer for once. I told the guys last night, I said, I haven't watched one of our shows. I'll listen to them, but I won't watch them. And it's just like some weird, like, mental stuff in my head about watching myself on YouTube. I just can't do it yet. So, but I listen on Spotify and stuff. So I did watch though this time. So that was good. It was good.
Nice.
So, yeah. And we made it work.
Yeah.
We had some fun.
Yeah. Good.
Jay. Then we just had a week of off the cuff last week, so
it's always good. We've got a good schedule coming up for the next couple of weeks, so I'm excited.
Yeah, we do. We're kind of booked up. I was surprised. We've been getting messages and people want to come on and chat, and we're gonna have next episode 10. We've got Carter, and I don't know if
Justin,
if it's just going to be Carter or if it's going to be Carter and Justin. But yeah, I'm going to be talking about the Saskatoon show coming up the end of September. And then the following week, episode 11, we're going to have our good friend Matthew Burrows from Upper Deck coming back. We're going to be talking PWHL, Fleer Ultra, which is awesome. Matt is going to school us on PWHL. So looking forward to that as well. Yeah, it's going to be, we've got a good schedule coming up, and then we have a few more guests that we've been talking with lining up for our fall. So it's going to be good.
Exciting.
Yeah, it's gonna be great.
It's going to be really good. So today, what are we going to get into today? I think we've kind of come up with a bit of a game plan, but we're just going to kind of wing things a bit. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's how our shows work. We have this nice outline of stuff to talk about, and it's kind of whatever direction we go. We might not get to everything we want to talk about.
Yeah.
But the conversation's always good. So yeah.
No, that's good. I think some of it, Eric, we need to get you on the Jeremy Lee Pops and Comps book study group.
Yes. Yeah, I did look that up yesterday, and I was going to purchase it, but you can't buy. So I'm a Kindle guy, so it is available on Kindle, the Kindle app. So that was good. But I was on my phone checking it. And it's so stupid. You can't buy. Apple doesn't let you buy anything Kindle. Like Amazon, you can buy whatever you want, but Kindle, for whatever reason, you can't purchase a Kindle book from the Kindle app on your, or a Kindle book from the Amazon app on your iPhone. I don't know why. So I usually have to go to the browser. In fact, I'm going to make that happen while we are talking.
Oh,
so
wonderful.
But I am interested in getting into that book, learning more about some of his things. I'm curious what you guys have thought so far. Have you both finished it?
Haven't finished it yet. I've been trying to just read it cover to from beginning to end.
Okay.
But the way that Jeremy wrote it allows you to kind of jump back and forth in chapters and kind of pick out certain things that are kind of topics that maybe in the moment when you're buying a card or looking at certain things, looking at the market. It's really well laid out. But my wife was even like, "You're really into that book." I'm like, it's great. Like it just, it is very eye-opening. And I've talked to Jeremy a bit about it. I'm like, you've changed the way that I am looking at card purchases, the market in general, kind of avoiding some of the hype, understanding some of the flipping that goes on and how people are inflating costs and things like it's just like, wow. He really has broken down the market from his perspective and his experience over his decades of being in the hobby. And I wish this book was out a lot sooner. I wish I had known this information years ago, because now I'm looking back at, again, the decisions that I've been making with card purchases in the past. And I'm just like, that was dumb. And then, and when it comes to selling, and I said this to Tori before you hopped on, Eric, was being feeling like I need to be in a rush and making decisions that essentially are cutting any opportunity for me to either get the value back that I put into the card or make a little money off of it. I just felt like I needed to be in a rush, and I always needed to sell at 80% of what I paid it for, because those are the only people that are going to buy the cards. Now I almost want to caveat like every sale that I make when people are in negotiations. I'll be like, "Did you read Jeremy's book? Because this is where my thought process is right now. So if you're just thinking you're going to be able to, well, here's the last comp and this is the card." Because I was telling Tori, like, I have a card for sale, and the gentleman was great to talk to, and he completely understood where I was coming from. But I have that Geek Carbonell limited logos. The last comp on that card's $420 back in February. I'm like, well, number one, the market's gone up. Number two, the patch on the card that I have is probably the best patch out of the 50 cards that exist, because it is, in terms of a limited logo, it is part of the logo of the Habs jersey. Like you can see that it's part of the C on the crest, like on the chest of the jersey. And that comes with a premium. Also, the availability in the market. There are none available in the market. I have the only one that is available for sale right now. So I'm not going to jump to, I'll sell it for 420. I'm sorry, but there are premiums that come with being the only card available, having the best patch, and it being 7 months past the last comp date. So taking those things into consideration, I'm like, I am going to be very firm with my position now, and I now have reasons that I can articulate why in the back of my mind, because I've been Jeremy Lead.
Yeah, exactly. I think
and it's great.
When we were looking at like the for our segment on questions from our viewers, I think one of them said something about like, what advice would you give a new person in the hobby? Read the book first. Like, you know what I mean?
Oh,
like,
someone,
honestly,
yes. When we get into the questions, there's a really good thing, but it's just it. And there are, and again, it's opened my eyes to be like, read more books about the hobby, read more books about the cards, about the players, like really educate yourself to know that you're making good decisions. Otherwise, the only thing that is influencing the decisions that you're making with your cards is what is slapping you in the face on Instagram and all your social medias day in and day out, or the YouTube breaks and people getting super excited for this card. You're like, oh, that's the big chase.
Yeah.
Is it though?
Right.
Like, is it?
Yeah.
And there was something I was listening to one of Jeremy's shows the other night. Also, I don't know if either one of you follow David Chase at all, but I really like Dave and his perspective on the hobby and the cards that he collects. He's one of those low grade, high eye appeal guys with his baseball cards, and really just like he really is. He buys into those convictions all the time, and he explains why. And I really like his perspective on the hobby. But there was someone in the comments that Jeremy was reading out the other day, and I was, for an hour, I was trying to find the comment because I was listening to it when I was driving. But someone said something about like people always buying into, I guess, the value of the card from like a monetary perspective and being like, I have this expensive card and that's what makes the card great, versus I have this great card that didn't cost a lot of money and I love the card for it being like the card that it is. And there is this interesting dichotomy that we see, and it gets back to the discussion of the industry versus the hobby, and that there are different ecosystem, or I guess Jeremy explains that it's an ecosystem, the hobby, or like everything is an ecosystem, but within that, there are so many species within the ecosystem, the hobby being one of them. The other is the breaking, the hype, all of those things, and that feeds the hobby, but that isn't the hobby. And I like, there's just certain things that I'm just like, man, like reading your book, listening to these conversations that are like, I'm finding myself tapping into a different level of how I want to collect. And it's this great evolution. But again, I wish I had experienced it well before spending the amounts of money that I have spent on buying cards. When I look in my displays, there isn't a single card that I have now that I owned years ago. Well, no, I have one. I do have my Seinfeld card. That card will never leave but
we got to get that into the show. We got to see that.
I'll send it in a minute. It's really changed the outlook on the hobby as a whole for me. And I said it to you guys, how it's interesting how you can come full circle with things. And we joke that how often I'm changing directions, but it's almost like I've just come back home. I went on a journey and I was looking at shiny things, went to Vegas, spent all my money, came back broke, and was like, okay, I need to rebuild. And here I am, like buying back into like the staple blue collar cards, as we like to call them, right? Those cards that have just consistently been gradual return, or like the ROI has just been gradually, steadily increasing over the years, regardless of the ebbs and flows of the COVID era, all of these things, like Gretzky's, Lemieux's, Howe's, like all of those cards that have some of that historical relevance, they've just been a steady Eddie card and have just been steadily increasing over the years. So, I mean, is it boring? I guess it depends on who you ask, but I look at it, when I look at the cards now, I'm able to look at it through a different lens of like, there is historical significance to this card for all of these reasons. And that's when I talk about me curating and trying to find the stories behind the cards. That's what I'm diving into. So when I talk about buying, like reading books about players, I bought a card. I'll show it a little later. The Fred Saskamoose card. I ended up picking that up on eBay. The gentleman that I purchased it from, he grew up in the same town as Fred. He knows him, or he knew him. He had a story about Fred. And I was like, when you send this card, send me, if you could, a handwritten note about an experience or a story that you have of a memory with Fred, which I think is really cool. That's just going to add into that curation thing. And it's going to, it provides me with some insight into the player as a person. And then I went on eBay or on Amazon and I purchased his book. So he wrote a book and he died before it was published. But it tells the story of the struggles that he lived through in Canada. We had the residential schools. He was taken from his family at a very young age, put through the residential school program, ended up playing hockey, and the history just, evolved from there. So I'm really excited to now read a book about a player that I have a card of, and then someone had a personal connection with that's going to write a handwritten letter. Like that's really cool. So that's kind of where I'm just wanting to dive into those things and kind of cut out the noise from a lot of, I'm probably going to go on to Instagram soon and just start deleting a bunch of accounts that are feeding the algorithms that I could care less about. So, yeah.
Gets up early, he does the nose whistle. That's like his time to get up, Dad. And it's like it's 6 o'clock. I got home at 12:30, bro. So I let him out and I go on the couch and I put podcasts on. Sometimes I just fall asleep to the white noise, but I was listening to Sports Card Nonsense, Doug Plagans. He's the Florida Panthers announcer.
Yeah.
And he was talking about how he went to a card show in Fort Lauderdale last weekend. So his show was recorded Friday, so it was the prior weekend. This is Fort Lauderdale, and he said the number one card people were asking for was Macklin Celebrini. Because it happened right after the $1.3 million sale. So he said Fort Lauderdale, and I get Florida Panthers, that's their area, but I can't imagine Fort Lauderdale is a huge hockey card market. Outside of true collectors, your Panthers fans, and we got some buddies who are Panthers fans. So, but the fact that there were just random people who are now trying to buy Macklin Celebrini, that's what drove me to. I talked to Josh a lot about the young gun I have, and then the auto that I got back from Beckett. And I'm like, I need to sell these right now.
Yeah.
If I want a Macklin Celebrini young gun, there's 4,000 or 5,000 graded. I can get one in 5-10 years for probably a fraction of the price if I really want one. But the time is now to get rid of these, as you've got all these eyes on. And I think that's the hype you're talking about. Like there's so much news and noise about that card. There was, when I was on the ship, I'll bet you every fifth post was, did you see? And it was an infographic about the 1.3 million. It's like, I almost got tired of it. Like, yeah,
I was tired of it after the third post. I'll be honest.
Exactly. Yeah. So, I mean, it's to that point, it's the hype driving so much stuff. And then I think that flows into, we as collectors too, you start to feel like, I'm not keeping up with the Joneses. I've got to get big cards, and what you're doing, I think, is very smart. Just taking a step back and and trying to figure out, you know, your lane. And that's where, like, being on the cruise, I only bought one card. I bought that Gump Worsley Parkhurst card for my Hall of Fame collection, but I looked at cards every day, and I'm like, I just have no desire to buy anything. Maybe it was cruise mode, and I was enjoying the cocktails on the pool deck a little bit too much, and I just didn't get into it. But it kind of made me step back and go, like, and Josh and I talked about it last night, like, I have no desire to buy any more big Kirill Kaprizov cards. Still love him as a player, but there's just nothing. Like, I feel like I have the best cards of his I want, and there's some I want to get rid of. Like, I don't want them anymore. And you know, that's some of our notes in the outline, you know, of downsizing a little bit, you know, and getting rid of stuff. But I think there's so much hype driven content, it starts to bleed into your collecting mindset, you know, a lot. And I get it. I mean, that's their lane to push hype and you know, sell product, and we're all three in different places, you know, collecting wise, which is kind of cool. We've got three different opinions and lanes we're focused on, and they'll change. But yeah, it was interesting to kind of take a step back from the daily eBay grind and you know, checking out the Discord for sale channels and stuff, and just kind of like, I'm gonna take 2 weeks off and not care too much about buying cards. So it was good.
Yeah, I think that I had a thought that just jumped out of my mind. Got it back. Oh man, wow, that's Eric, what do you think?
Let me all right, I'll jump in here and try to talk. So I'm still just in I want to be entertained. Right. At the end of the day, I've just been trying to find cards that I really, really like, players that I am getting an affinity to. I still think I'm probably influenced somewhat by hype, even though I know that some of these players are not kind of what I'm probably thinking they're going to be. Most of them are on my own teams that I follow. But like, I'm trying to establish kind of this Ryan Leonard collection that I've talked about. And you know what it is? Honestly, I think it's more that's somebody that I can chase, and these are products that I'm interested in. So it kind of lines up, and I'm gonna go after them. Yeah. Whether that's makes the most sense, and at the end of the day, do I end up with, you know, a bunch of cards that, you know, I may like or not like, or am I buying at the top of the market on some of these? I'm sure that I am, but you know, I'm having fun, and I'm trying to weigh that against you know, making the right decisions. I have been one thing I've been doing, I'll just mention, at some point I started the last couple of weeks, and I told you guys about this. I just started looking around my room and saying, look, I have to make some changes here as far as my inventory management goes. And I've mentioned this before. There's apps out there that do this already. I've talked about Colics. I've talked about Ludix. I've talked about Market Movers. We've talked about Card Ladder. I just haven't found anything that can do hockey the way that I want it to. So I started building my own app. I started building something that I can track my own cards. I can feed in information about the card. Like, wouldn't it be nice to have something that has Ryan Leonard's stats right next to it, so that I can see, oh, he had 20 goals. Or if I'm pulling up a Ben Kindrel, I can see, oh, he scored 7 goals last year. Where is Ben Kindrel on this rankings list? It's right on this page. I can put the comps in. So I've been spending a lot of my time the last couple of weeks trying to just do something to try to help myself, like that way, like maybe trying to not look so much at cards that I don't have and look more at the cards that I do have, and figure out how I can best track these and make it more about the collection that I have. And then from there, hopefully try to figure out, like, okay, which ones of these do I not want, or which ones of these can I start to get rid of?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's great.
And you kind of showed us some of the stuff that you've been working on. It's phenomenal. I think it would be a very useful app for any collector. Again, to be able to have that information right at your fingertips, rather than going to 15 different sites and things like that to try and get the information that you want about the players that you have and the cards that you have is awesome. This kind of goes back to like our different ways of using AI technology to our advantage in this hobby, whether it be our good friend Nathan who developed Display My Card that we all love and use to show off our cards on our Instagram, to me using the AI technology to help build a checklist through different players and ranking cards and which ones I should go for and when, and look at the market trends and know when it's a good time to pounce on a specific card because of value at the time. Or Eric, with your thing, being able to plug in every card that you have with the players that you have, see the stats, see, because you love the stat stuff, you love the over-unders, you love the kind of I don't want to say the gambling side of it, because you don't use it for gambling, but you definitely follow the kind of the stuff out of Vegas to understand trends in the game and trends with the players, to understand the markets and the way that fluctuates. So to have that at your fingertips in an app that you have beside every card that you have, and you can monitor card values, prices, and if there's cards that you want to get rid of, understand when it's an opportune time to offload those cards in either a trade or a sale. The technology is there to it's so vast, and it's so great that we can unplug from, again, being on eBay every day. And this is where I've gone down this road before, and the last time I did this, I burned myself out and I unplugged for 7 months. I'm seeing that I am burning myself out, or I was burning myself out with being on Instagram, being on eBay 24/7, just like constantly. It's like, okay, like you're getting tired of this. But I'm part of a podcast that I can't tire myself from a hobby that I love. So I bought some books, and I'm going to read about the players that are on the checklist, so I know more about them, so that when I add the card, I'm like, this is important for all of these reasons. And really, again, understand the historical significance of the player and what they provide, like what they brought to the game. So yeah, it's great that we're all finding those lanes that we're steering away from the noise and the hype, and just kind of recharging our batteries in our different avenues.
And I wanted to jump in a little bit on what we were talking about in the Celebrini, because I'm finding that difficult to let go, honestly. It's just trying to, I think the conventional wisdom. So I have been the person saying, like, if you think this market is at the high point, I disagree. I think we're at a hole, basically, at best, but I can see these cards continuing to go up, and him filling a vacuum that was previously owned by the Austin Matthews and the McDavids, and that I can see him starting in the next few years to fill that vacuum. But the cards are just the prices are getting insane. I mean, we saw, I don't know if you were there or if you were maybe on your trip, but there was if I'm not mistaken, there was a blue Dazzler of Celebrini that went for like 130 Canadian the other week on Slab Sharks. I mean,
we're seeing base cards go for $10 to $15.
Yeah.
Not
I mean, the canvas card, the canvas rookie's going for like 400 last I checked, and I think it's still
the base marquee rookie from Platinum, $43.
Yeah.
They were selling for $10 to $12 all day when 24-25 came out, and I think I saw while I was out, PSA 10 Young Gun on Slab Sharks went for 3,900 Canadian. Base Young Gun.
I think we're just seeing the inverse or the reverse of Bedard with Celebrini, right? We when Bedard came out, we were watching his PSA 10s sell for around this like insane amounts of money. And I mean, Josh and the guys, Louis, they had the pop count going because it almost became a joke as to how many Bedard cards were being graded and for sale, and the price is just high. And then a little bit of fumbling and some injuries, that market tanked. Whoever bought that first, like the what was it, the draft day PSA 10,
$5,000.
It was like 8 or 10. Like it was insane.
Yeah.
That card's worth like under $1,000 now.
Yeah,
so I'm skeptical about the card market and where it's going to go. I think that overall, like more people are coming in, the demand is increasing. You're starting to see values across the board increase. This is expected in a bull market. Like, everyone's buying. I think that conspiracy theories on my end. I think that the PSA shutdown, the Beckett shutdown, it may be more calculated than people think.
Totally is.
Because of their partnerships with, I believe, with Fanatics, they have something. With eBay, they have something. They're a part of the authentication process. Yep. There's money to be made, and when you cut supply and demand is at an all-time high, you increase that demand and the money that is pumped through it. And in turn, they're going to be still trickling out those 3 million cards a month back to the people with that massive backlog. I think a big part of that is TCG. I think we're all in agreement with that market is just, that is next level. And I think that's going to crash. I really do. Like, I mean, I grew up with Pokemon and I watched it become the laughing stock and it go away. Everything is going to plateau. But plateaus and back to, listening to Jeremy. Jeremy said this the other day when I was cutting the grass. He said, the market will plateau, but plateaus are scary because you don't know where they're going to go after the plateau. Are they going to go down or are they going to go up? I believe they're going to go down. And the only reason that I say that is that there are so many outside factors that people just tend to ignore when we're focused on the hobby. Like, let's just talk about, I'm in Canada, you guys are in the US. What just happened in the last 48 hours? We walked away from trade talks with the United States. And immediately there are 50% tariffs on everything. And then we have the reciprocal tariffs. We're going to do dollar for dollar for everything that you do. We're going to do the same thing. Yeah. You've just shut down the economy. Yeah. Things are going to start going in a direction that I don't think we've considered or seen when we're focused on just the hobby. But everyone's putting all this money in. Sometime very soon, there may be a hot sale for some people that need that money out of their cards. Right. But with that, suddenly the supply is at an all-time high because everyone needs to get out of the hobby to get their money back. If you're buying cards as an investment, it's like anything else. It's only good if you can get your money back and have a tangible asset that you can use that money for. If your money's in cards and then you can't sell your cards because no one is buying them because they need to focus their money on everything else in their life, looks like you're stuck with the hot potato, my friend.
Yeah.
So
let me just, my thought on this is that this market is now tied to a larger market, okay, when it comes to speculation. And there's right now, if you look at any of the stock market indices, they are all like way over as far as like pricing, and it is definitely getting into what I would consider like it's making people pause. A lot of this has to do with AI. A lot of it, and AI companies, without having to get too much into it, it is an economy pretty much all of itself, and that we've never really seen before. And my point, I guess, is that if I see cards as being part of a larger market, whereas if they do go down, everything's going to be going down, and your cards your cards are going to be like one of the things you're not necessarily worried about, because there's going to be so many other things that you're worried about. You're going to be worried about your 401k if you're in the States, your retirement plan, any of those things. I think all that stuff is going to be tied to it. Real estate prices, all that stuff. So where I guess I'm going with that is that I don't know if I see that yet, where that it's going to take something much bigger than cards, I think, to slow down this market, because I think this market is now tied back to a lot of the other markets that are in our lives, whether it's the stock market, whether it's the real estate market, whether it's any of those things. The trade war is certainly not going to help things, but
no.
The average collector that's doing football, baseball, TCG in the States probably doesn't, that's not going to impact them, right? But if a war here continues and a war somewhere else starts, and then that just makes people just bring all their money out of all these markets, then cards they're gonna tank.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So.
And I'm not trying to be doom and gloom with anything. I'm just trying to, again, I think
these
it's
are just
important
opinions,
to be,
right? You're seeing it from your side, and I'm, I don't think any of us would have predicted where we've seen cards go in the last 12 months, and where they've even gone in the last 3 months.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think one thing that when we met, when we talked, and even before, I never really heard the term commodity card before, right? But now we're hearing cards become like a commodity, and we're referring to them as exactly that. It's gone away from a collector and an entertainment perspective, and it is a market. I mean, you've got over the last few years, the market movers, the card ladders, these are indexes. We have indexes in cards. This is it. It's crazy. And it can be overwhelming to the average collector, or the person like myself that's just kind of over the, not really knowing where to navigate and where to get my information and knowledge, because sometimes the knowledge and information that I've been eating up is from the people that want you to eat that knowledge and information right out of their hands, because they're going to keep getting the money and whatever it is out of you to make this market grow.
Yeah. I think if you watched any of the the national videos, from the big the King of Cards, Mojo, Roth, and they're posting their little thumbnails of $400,000 2-card buy at the National, and you're like, I would vomit.
It's like, what am I doing wrong?
Yeah, I know. Well, you start to think that way, and I really like Kyle, King of Cards. He's really down to earth, and there was a couple deals where you could see his face almost react to, am I really doing this? And it was he was uncomfortable, and some of the guys are just like, it's just money, and you kind of take pause and you're like, yeah, that Jordan card that you just paid $120,000 for, you better hope it does nothing but go up. Or how many people can afford to buy a $120,000 card from you, and you're going to want to get $140 for it in 2 months? There's such a small market for that. The people that can afford that, or should, I shouldn't say can afford it, because there'll be the people that leverage, their 401 because they want that big card, and it's unfortunate. But it was wild, the number of videos that came out with a tagline: $300,000 deal, $400,000 deal, $500,000. I spent $1 million at the National. Holy crap! bleh, that would make me sick,
Right.
So
Right. But
I'd love to do it.
But this is the Flippers Vortex.
Right.
This is exactly what
Jeremy said.
And sorry, Eric, I don't want to ruin the book, but like this is, he calls it the Flippers Vortex, and it's simply those big cards, those commodity cards, being deal after deal after deal after deal, getting elevated and pumped up by these big buyers, these influencers that say that this is the big card. And at some point that is going to give out. The floor will drop. And I think if I saw it right on Sports Card Nonsense, it did with the Tom Brady Chrome rookie.
Yeah.
That thing has dropped $13,000 in the last week and a half. Something like that. It was insane. I was like, okay, like, so those inflated prices, and now everyone's on to something else. And those Brady cards that people were, spending crazy amounts of money to say, look what I have. Everyone's like, yeah, cool. I'm glad we got rid of it when we did, because now all the influencers and all of the big buyers have had it in their hands and have moved it on. And now it's not the big thing anymore. It's something else. So it's crazy. So
yeah, I think Expo in Saskatoon it's gonna be interesting to see, like, the big buyers, that the Grants of the world and Mint Inc. Just to see because they'll post
what they're buying.
They'll post their big, Grant always does a recap of daily recap, a week or so later of what they're buying. It's gonna be interesting to see what they're buying, and I'll bet you it's gonna be heavy Celebrini. It's gonna be
yeah.
It'll be an interesting end of the year run here for us to see. So,
the question that I think we should table at some point and just try to figure out, like, after Celebrini, like, who's
next?
Yeah. And I don't mean from maybe like a hype perspective, but let's say, like, what Celebrini, you've got, I don't know, you take him off the table. Like, who's the next person that the hobby's gonna focus on? Is it Bedard? Is it going to be Schaefer? Is it Demidov? Is it somebody like that? Or can we go, what I would really like to see, I'd like to see some of the guys that have been in the league for 3 or 4 years and have started to establish themselves. Somebody like, honestly, Matt Boldy, like, Tori, like somebody who's now, in the, you've seen their goals go up, every season, and they're considered like a top 20, top 30 player in the sport. Like, but I don't know. Like, that's probably wishful thinking. It's probably going to fall back on somebody like McKenna, right? Or somebody brand new, or
it'll be
McDavid, Schaefer, or Demidov.
I think it'll be McDavid and Bedard. It'll fall back to the other big few guys. I think if there is a decent push this year for McDavid in a cup, like it'll be the McDavid hype train is going to go full steam ahead again.
You feel like there's a fatigue thing there?
Yes,
100%. I feel like every time I talk about him on this show, I kind of shake my head because I'm just like, I'm just kind of over him. I'm not over him, but like, I'm just,
otherwise,
it's now been 10 plus years, of this guy kind of dominating. And I just, that's where I think Celebrini, going back to him, I think that's where he's going to start to fill that in. But I'm wondering, like, is there another name? I'm not sure it's going to be Bedard, but I'm wondering who else could it be? I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Even and I've talked about it, and I know it's a bias of mine. Like the Schaefer hype. Love his personality, his game. He's a defenseman, and I can't get past that. And I don't know if a defenseman's going to fill that void of a 115 to 130 point guy, flashy scorer like a Celebrini or a McDavid. What did Schaefer have? Like 20 goals, 55 points. Great for a defenseman, especially a rookie. What if that's all he does next year?
Yep.
That puts him in like the top 5 of defensemen, which is good. But beyond Makar and Hughes, is there a market for, his market's not going to sustain where it's at right now if he just does what he did last year. And that's that, I can't get past that. And I'd love to collect some of his stuff, but I'm not going to pay the prices of it right now. And to your point, is it McKenna? I hope not, because I selfishly want to get some McKenna cards. And I think with McKenna, and I've jabbed the Gong Show guys about it, because they're very low on him, which is fine. Everyone's got their opinion, and I think on their Thursday show last week, I said I'd love if McKenna finished with 15 to 20 goals and 50 to 60 points. I think that's a good year for a rookie playing on a second line in Toronto. And they were almost like, that's horrible. That's a bust. And I'm like, and then somebody said, look at Joe Thornton's first year stats. He scored 7 goals. He didn't even have 20 points. And he finished as a Hall of Famer. No, Jack Hughes had a horrible first year. So, I mean, we got to move beyond the first year doesn't dictate everything. And I think that's maybe, to your point, Eric, like, who's a guy that didn't have a great first year that all of a sudden comes out and scores 50 goals this year? Like Caulfield, scoring 50 goals. But did it move his market? Not much, which is kind of sad,
That's, and I think maybe that's, we're putting so much weight on such a small piece of a player's performance.
Right.
If it's just points, yeah, okay. What does he, again, in a 200-foot game, what is that player doing?
Yeah.
What are the quiet things that are, they're setting up plays. They're, it's a game of chess. It's not a game of just checkers and just there's my move and that's it. It's there is skill behind all of this that I think that we tend to ignore or miss.
Yeah.
Until a few years down the road, or when the player retires and it's like, oh, they were actually one of the best players ever.
Right.
Well, in the moment you weren't saying that.
Exactly.
Well, let's talk about it. Like we talked about Crosby being one of the greatest of all time. I would say he is one of the greatest players to ever play the game.
Yeah.
I would put him above McDavid. And I mean, McDavid is flashy, and my God, that guy can play. But consistency and just that ability to maintain that high level of performance for 20 years, you got my vote. You got my vote all day.
Yeah,
personality
points.
Staying out of the media, being very humble.
Right. Agreed. I mean, Josh and I talked about that when I was kind of going down my PMG. I wanted to get a first year PMG of Crosby and my ordeal on eBay, and we talked about by the end of this year, Crosby could be the number 4 overall all-time scorer in the NHL if he has just like a 60 to 70 point year. By the time he retires, he'll be top 3 in scoring. And quiet, not quiet. I wouldn't say quietly, but like as far as the hobby goes, like obviously very well followed, very well collected, but not the same hype as the McDavid, et cetera. But just kind of a quiet, nice, steady Eddie, hobby wise focus. And yeah, I think you're right. Like you finish top 3 in scoring and have Stanley Cups and MVPs and all the other awards. Like that's a no brainer, So
well, this will bring me into pulling Eric into this. Let's talk about your Ovi. Do you think with his do you think his market's going to keep going down? Like he's greatest goal scorer of all time. What else?
Yeah. I mean, I do. I see it. I see it like we talked about a little bit before, probably starting to plateau. I think at some point, I don't consider it's just going to tank, but I do think it's going to kind of stabilize, if you will. And, you're going to get, it's going to be left for people that are more, OV fans, that type of card. I noticed, I think he's looking at probably somewhere, his predictions are somewhere around 20 something goals this year, which is still decent, right? At 41 years old, but I just think with the Caps now, last year they had to rely on him for the power play. They had to rely on him for scoring because they just didn't have anybody. And now, they've got Kyrou, they've got Tuck, they've got Jenner, they've got the kids coming up. So it is going to be, I honestly cannot wait for the season to start because I'm just really interested to see what this team's going to do. I don't think they're going to be as good as advertised, just because I'm concerned about what they've got up the middle, and they don't have a true elite player. But back to your question, Andrew, I do see it kind of stabilizing and getting to that point where you can finally, like, if you want to get into OV, it's probably the record's broken. I've heard the chase for 1,000 goals. Look, I mean, God, what's he got to get? Like another 80, 90 goals? I mean, that would take another 3 to 4 seasons, I think. And look, the Caps are going to be trying to do other things. Like the last couple of years, it's been get the guy the puck, let him shoot, let him score. It's not going to be like that anymore. The parameters on the goals on the team has changed. So I don't see them
that would have been
stay with that. So
that would have been my biggest concern
for me. I think it's a good time to kind of look at the market.
Yeah, that would have been my biggest concern with the Caps, is that mentality of, well, just keep feeding them the puck and let's get that record. But I think even I heard on an interview or something, Ovi was quoted saying, we're a Stanley Cup contending team. And if that's his mentality, then I have a feeling that he is going to be trying to rally his troops to be a Stanley Cup contending team. Right. And I know you're concerned that, you don't have enough up the middle, but you've got some dogs on that team. And my God, what they lack in maybe some of that up the middle play, they make up for in physicality and a lot of other things that are going to put the hurt on a lot of teams. So, and I mean, if Leonard can play a bigger role this year, like you've got a sleeper team. I think they're an underrated team this season, and I'm excited to see what they're going to do, as long as the Habs beat them.
So, a couple of things I did notice. So I checked the betting market before we got on the show, and Tori, it is the plus minus points has gone up for Minnesota. So they're up to 102.5 now. So somebody's expecting a big year from your team. So
as soon as you get that Minnesota signed, of course.
That's right. Yeah. But it doesn't matter. Like you sign them. If you don't sign them, I mean, the guys still got a year. The guys, you're going to get the best from that guy this season. Obviously, you want to get that in the bag. But and then I also I think at some point the Canadians and the Caps were at the same level as far as the odds to win the Stanley Cup. I've noticed in the last couple of weeks, the Canadians have actually pulled ahead by a little bit. So they're now ranked ahead of the Caps. So one thing I did want to say, Andrew, was, the under 23. So the Athletic, the big site, probably everybody knows the athletic.com.
Yeah.
I'm not going to just look at them as a source, right? They're not the Bible, they're not gospel, but they do have some pretty good hockey coverage on there.
They do.
And one of the things I always like to see is they come out with the under 23 list for the league. And I always like to check that out, see where players are. And no surprise to anybody. So just so you know, this is you have to be under the age of 23 by September 15th of this year. Mm-hmm. And so the number one player, no surprise to anybody, was Celebrini. And then, but the top five, number 2 was still Bedard. Number 3 was Schaefer. Number 5 was Carlson. Leo Carlson. Okay. Now he breaks these. So the guy that does this, Corey Pondman, I think is his name. He gets he's obviously controversial. Like, he talks about these players, he gives his opinion. So there's a lot of hate. There's a lot of people that are like, you don't know crap about this. So, but he breaks it down into tiers. So tier 1 is just Celebrini. Tier 2 was Bedard, Schaefer, and tier 3, which is the next tier, Carlson led it. Where I haven't I've been missing one player in that list, and I don't know if you guys saw this, but you want to take any guesses of who that might be? And this is number 4.
Under 23.
What's that?
Either going to be it's either going to be Slav or it's going to be Hudson.
Nice job. So it was Slav.
Yeah.
And I was surprised.
Yeah.
I was surprised at that. And if you read what he says about him, like he just says like he's a special combination of size, speed, and skill. 6'4", 230, big dude, left-handed shot. And he's in tier 2. And so he's basically, he's in this group with Bedard and Schaefer. So I guess from my perspective, Andrew, I just was thinking that, he's had his moments, but I didn't think that he was somebody who has maybe gone to that level yet, and just made me think, like, is that somebody that, when I think of the Canadians, I think of Caulfield, I think of Hudson. Those are the first 2 that come to mind. Then I think of Slavkovsky, but he's obviously still getting a lot of eyeballs, and he's still ranked high on some of these lists.
I think from a hobby perspective, when he was really he didn't perform to the hype, and I think that's where a lot of people discounted him in the hobby. But last season, he had a breakout year, over 30 goals, and he was physically dominant on the ice. He wasn't afraid to get, into the fighting, into the, he was a well-rounded player, and he was having fun. You could tell that he was having a good time. As serious, he was, of course, taking it serious, but it almost looked like there was this sense of relief, this weight was taken off his shoulders a bit, and he was able to just focus on his game. And but that also plays into Marty St. Louis and his coaching and the environment and that organization as a whole, how they've built that up. They are very, very positive with their players, and it's just this different mindset that they're instilling in their players. And Slav really took it to heart, and he just had a breakout season. And I think that he is just going to be on an upward trajectory moving forward. He is going to be, he'll probably be the top player of Montreal Canadiens this year. I think he will break 40 goals easily. I think he will break the 40 goal record. He may, depending on a few other moves that they make, depending on if he plays first or second line, and who's his supporting cast is. I could see him getting 50 goals. I really could. Yeah. So maybe I'll shoot myself in the foot with that, but I will say Slav this year, my prediction, 40 goals. He will break 40 goals.
Okay.
So, a bad thing, right?
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. It's good.
I'm definitely defer to you when it comes to anything Canadians, but I'll say this. I'm looking forward to watching that team this year.
Yeah.
I think they're going to be a lot of fun. I think if you were in the sports investing, right, you may want to put some bets on them. But yeah, I'm I was just looking to see where he fell on the NHL 27 ratings list, because
he's like mid 80s, isn't he?
Is he in the 80s? I'm gonna have to.
If they don't put him in the 80s, oh my God, what are they doing?
I don't know if he's on this list. He's got to be on this list. I can't.
But then when I went through, I saw Caulfield was like 49. I was like, yeah. It seemed low, but his ranking was still 91. Like he was right with Bedard. Sure. So I was like, okay.
I don't know what this list is. This is NHL ratings, NHL 27. This can't be. I don't think this
well,
is
you
the game.
sent it. You sent it to us. I had it up here.
I did, but now I can't find it.
I'll get it.
Here we go. Player ratings, EA Sports. Let's see.
You guys are making me debate whether or not I want to get a PS5 now, too. Thanks.
I don't know if let's see. I'm looking at the.
Oh, yeah, because this only goes to. Actually, hold on a second. If I just click on Canadians.
He's got to be on this list.
He is below Mike Matheson at number 116 on the list with an overall rating of 87.
Wow.
Yeah. Ivan Demidov beats him out at 88. Noah Dobson.
Joel Eriksson Ek beats him out, Tori, at 114.
I'm buying all my Joel Eriksson Ek cards now.
Wow. Interesting.
There's a lot of factors, obviously, that Joel Eriksson Ek's a two-way center, blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. But, if you're looking at, like, scoring skill, that I would not put Joel Eriksson Ek above Slav. So, but whatever.
But, interesting.
Yeah, wild.
So
crazy.
But I mean, just I like looking at these lists, not because I consider them gospel, but it's just there's always folks on there that I wasn't tracking or I had forgotten about. Or I'll tell you one other thing I noticed on that list so his name is Corey Pronman, I think is his name. I think I was giving him said it was Pronman, but Easton Cowan. Who people get, they get so elated with whenever they get an Easton Cowan's card. Easton Cowan is way down on this list as far as.
I don't think he did anything too
128
big
on the Athletics list. So, Bradley Nadeau and Victor Eklund were above him. So, yeah.
I don't think he was played to his full potential, though, under that leadership.
Probably.
Year, though.
But he had a hell of a the AHL. What is that? The AHL Cup, the Calder Cup.
Yeah.
He had a hell of a playoffs, and I think that'll feed into next year. And he's almost like a more skilled Max Domi. Like he's an agitator, but I think he's got more offensive upside. So probably a great second line guy.
Similar to like a Zach Benson almost,
exactly.
Right? Like
just get into somebody's face. He's not huge, so he's not going to be lighten players up physically, but he'll get into the corners. He'll do some of the dirty stuff, and a guy like that gets 25, 30 goals. That's pretty good. So
it's Benson. That's the one I'm thinking of, right? In the Sabres,
from Buffalo.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
So.
Yeah. He was fun to watch in the playoffs. Like he was in every scrum, he was right in the middle of it. So.
Yeah.
So I have a question.
Yeah.
So I had to make a choice this week. So I was in a clear-cut break, Tori.
Yeah.
Maybe I talked about this a little bit, but so it was one of Breezy's breaks, and it was one of these duck races, right? Where you get 15, you buy a 15 spot, you buy one of 15 spots, and they do a race, and they figure out like, okay, if you win the little race, simulated race on to determine who has the first pick, and then from there you have the option when they break the cards, you have the option of keeping the card or passing it to the next person, and then that person, it's kind of like that secret, that Santa,
the white elephant or whatever they call it. Yeah.
Right, something like that. So I ended up with the first pick. Okay, first break, first pick. So, so the cards are coming out, and I passed on an Easton Cowan outburst auto out of 25. This was like down. There were only like 4 or 5 boxes left.
Yeah,
maybe 6. It was, but we were getting down to it, and I hadn't made my selection yet. So this Easton Cowan comes out, and I'm thinking about it, and I passed on it, and I ended up a couple of other skunks come out. Like the second card left is Zeev Buyum High Gloss out of 10.
Yeah.
I took that one.
Yeah,
right.
for sure.
So what do you guys think? Like, and look, you do not have to, because I could go either way on this, but which card would you rather have there? Would you rather have an Easton Cowan out of 25, or would you rather have a Bouillon high glass out of 10?
Yeah.
Any thoughts there? Because I've asked people, and some people have been like, "Oh, I definitely would have taken the Cowan."
Yeah.
So like, what do you guys think?
Me personally, I would have taken the Cowan.
Okay.
I'll second that.
I won't say only because, but largely because I assume that the Zeev is in a Wild uniform and he's not in the Wild anymore. And I was fully ready to become a Zeev collector. Like that, he was one of my guys. Like, okay, I'm going to focus on Zeev. Not go crazy, but lightly prospect him. And as soon as he got traded, I want nothing to do with him. And it's not personal. I don't hate the guy. He's going to be a great defenseman. He had an unbelievable college career. I feel like Vancouver is like a black hole. Sorry, Canucks fans, but I also follow I like the Maple Leafs. You guys know that, and that would fit my PC better. So that would be the only reason I would have kept it. I think value-wise, they're probably very
at par
with each other. Yeah. So you find the right buyer on, maybe you if you're not going to keep it, you send it to Slab Sharks and let the Canadian, like Vancouver market dictate the value. But I don't think you did wrong either way.
It wasn't like I was looking at both cards, right? I was like, I got the Cowan. I'm like, I want to see if there's something else better.
Right.
I ended up getting the Bouillon.
Yeah.
It wasn't like a 1-on-1, but it's just an interesting question to ask.
Yeah. Well, some of those inners too, like you don't know. Like some of them are so meh. Like there's not a big hit, and what's the Spider-Man saying? With great power comes great responsibility, and you kind of control the game at number one.
Yeah.
And obviously, if a McDavid comes out, you're in the first box. You're done. You're sipping a cocktail and enjoying life. And but in your case, the Cowan and Zeev were probably the best two cards.
They were.
So there you go. You didn't have a bad choice then. You know what I mean? Like, so yeah, I think either one would have been fine. I would have kept the Cowan personally, just because it fits my PC a little better. But if you were, are you going to sell the Zeev? Would you have sold the Cowan? Yeah. So who cares then? Yeah. You did well.
What's hilarious to me is the another card that I have. My only other clear cut high gloss is of Marco Rossi.
Oh, geez.
That I never got rid of.
Yeah.
And I definitely should have years ago. But like, again, another guy that was traded to Vancouver in a Wild uniform. So
I know.
if I'm going to send that one, I'll probably send the Rossi too.
You might as well, just to move it on.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, All right. Well, that's good. That's something I wanted to get y'all's opinion on.
For sure.
So,
yeah, it's the same. I mean, Cowan, just the market.
Yeah.
The market alone, it being a rookie from the Maple Leafs, it's like, well, I'll take that.
Yeah.
No other reason.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right. Well, let's see what else we got going on here. This has been a great conversation. So again, we have our outline. I think we've touched on a few things. The one thing I kind of want to get into a bit, maybe the kind of collector confessions, like what would we stop doing moving forward? And I think we've talked about this a few times, and we've even talked about selling your Celebrinis and now is just the time to do it. We're talking about FOMO. I know I've played into that so many times. So just kind of wondering if you had to start over tomorrow, what would you do differently?
Mm-hmm.
Eric, what would you do differently if you had to start this tomorrow? Knowing everything you know now over the years and years that you've collected cards, you get a fresh start tomorrow.
I would sell more. I would get off my ass and sell more of my cards, because I don't do a good job of that. I don't enjoy it. I don't enjoy negotiating pricing. I don't enjoy, honestly, I think the thing that I have a trouble with the most is just packaging these cards up. I hate that process.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, I think it would be sell more, be more active, and not from the buying, but like from the selling. Like get cards that don't have a place in your heart. Get rid of them, and don't just move on to the next purchase.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Do you see yourself as part of your diving into with the app that you've created and going through your cards? Do you see, or have you had a box set aside and you're just starting to fill it with, this can go to Slab Sharks, this can go, this can go, this can go, this can go, and just like see what happens, see what money comes back, and that is what it is. It's just you've written it off.
And the other thing that on that, like, so I have accumulated a large amount of wax.
Yeah.
And so I have, I've got a decent collection from that side. And I've never sold any of it. Maybe a box here or there, but just like, I mean, I'm talking stuff larger than that. And I really need to get some of that stuff listed and kind of figure out where it's moving, because it's a good time to move some of this stuff. I've talked to some people about it, and they've been, send me a list of what you have, and let's see about it. And I've just never sent it. So
here, list it or rip it.
List it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we're talking stuff that, so I typically will buy things in multiples, so that I have one that I can rip, and one that I can hold on to. Mm-hmm. And it's just getting to the point on some of this stuff. Like, I need to get rid of it. Yeah. Just because it's just sitting here. Either that, or I need to rip it, I guess, and figure it out. So
yeah, I guess it comes down to guaranteed return of keeping it sealed and selling it, or being curious and finding out what's in those packs.
I feel
that
like
would be very hard for me.
I feel like Andrew is trying to
be very hard for me.
He's trying to encourage me to, why don't you rip some of this stuff on the show?
I don't know how you haven't yet.
You never know. I don't know what you have stashed away.
Yeah.
But if there was something that was like really cool, or maybe you become, I don't know, maybe you bring some of it to Expo, and you have an evening where you rip a couple boxes after an old fashioned and see what happens, or load it to like, I don't know. Like,
yes.
I tend to, you've seen me open boxes, and I tend to get a little ragey when I don't get something that I'm looking for, and I end up opening another box and another box and another box. So you obviously show a lot more restraint than I do when it comes to sealed products. So
you know what, Andrew, I feel like we have buried the lead here, because we have not mentioned that you, as of now, will not be joining us at the Expo.
That is right.
Yeah. So
really sorry about that.
I'm very disappointed, but I totally understand where you're coming from. And if I could, I would be joining you guys in Saskatoon. My wife is actually like, well, why don't you just go to Saskatoon? And I'm like, because we have a wedding that weekend.
Yeah.
Here. So, it's actually, I think that's my family too. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Like I haven't had to go to a wedding. Let me just bitch for a moment here. I haven't had to go to a wedding for like 2 years. And this next month, I got to go to 2 weddings. My buddy is getting promoted in the Navy. He's like, we're all, like, a bunch of my buddies are getting together for it. That's on Labor Day weekend. I got a wedding that weekend. And then Saskatoon is happening. I got another week. And then I'm probably not going to go to a wedding for like another 10 years.
Right.
So it's just, sucks.
Well, the good news is we'll give you lots of feedback back on Saskatoon. I mean, this is what my son, used to go to Expo with me the first 2 years, and now he's got the Dallas Card Show that's the same weekend as Expo. So with Alt, he can't go. And I said, well, I'm going to scout Saskatoon out, because he wants to buy, like, he's a hockey card collector. He sells cards for Alt, and it's always basketball and football. But at the end of the day, I'm like, I'm going to check out Saskatoon, and maybe that becomes our new. Not that Expo wasn't before you got on. Andrew and I were kind of talking about Saskatoon. Just feels like more homey, and I haven't even been there yet. Like, where Expo is so massive, and it's getting. I think we talked about it a few episodes ago. Like, is Expo going to be as hypey as the National? I kind of feel like it's going to be. and is it going to take away from the experience? Maybe, maybe not. But I think it's going to be so big this year. It's growing, it's getting bigger. It's going to be a different experience, and we'll check out Saskatoon, and maybe next year it's, not that I won't not go to Expo, I'll still go, but maybe Saskatoon is my buying show, where I focus more on buying, and Expo is more hanging out and saying hi to the buddies and doing more of the social stuff than buying. So we'll give you good feedback,
Yeah. Well, I mean, I definitely, because it's just my nature, I tend to, get an inch and take a yard. So I would rather do both shows, right?
Me too.
Go to Saskatoon and go to the Expo, right?
Yeah.
But that's not always,
right.
It's obviously not always a possibility.
Yeah, and that's what it was for me this year. I had to make a decision with finances and with flights in this country. My God, like
here too.
$1,500 to fly to Toronto for a couple of days. Like I'm sorry, like my wife took me on a fantastic trip for my 40th birthday, and I am planning something
nice,
great for her.
No, that's great.
And that's where I just want to, cards will always be there. But other moments and memories with family is something that you can't replace. So I'm going to be an adult and
voice of reason. That's
right.
Great.
And it was a good compromise. And
an Expo happens twice a year, and maybe we go to spring and then we go to Saskatoon in the fall. You know what I mean? Like there's ways to flip it.
That's right. There's other traditions we can make.
Yeah, exactly.
While still hitting all the check boxes. So that's good.
Agree.
Tori, I'm going to put the same question to you. Is there anything that you would be doing differently if you could start over today?
And it's kind of in our notes a little bit here. I think early on I chased players in every new release. And when I got back into cards, it's when there was such a pause with Upper Deck that it was like new release. And I couldn't keep up. And then, the cup prices, were astronomical. And I think I'd focus on a couple sets, like I love Platinum. I'd focus on that, and maybe like the Future Watch, and just kind of try to keep, so SPA and Platinum, just try to keep my focus on those two areas and not worry about, Ultimate's out now, I've got to go chase Kaprizov and Ultimate. And then Premier comes out 2 weeks later, and I've got to chase it there. Not that I don't like the cards and I wouldn't buy any, but if I was going to focus my collection back, I'd kind of do what I'm doing, focusing on the Platinum autos, the seismic golds. I would have gotten into PMGs a lot earlier before they became as big as they are. But I think I chased my players and everything, and then I also chased players I've got to have McDavid, and then I've got to have Matthews, and then I've got to have Crosby, and it just got to be too much of a not a financial drain, but I was focusing on too many areas and not on kind of my true PC. So I'd rethink my focus early on across the board. So it's a great question, though. I mean, would I also buy some of the cards I bought? No, I wouldn't. I'd take a pass on some of them, and some of those were, like the Cup Kaprizov cards. I gotta have one, and you spend $1,000 on it, and I look at it, I'm like, I don't like it. I don't like the card. So it's one of the cards I'll be trying to move, either in at the Minnesota show here in September or in Saskatoon or Expo to try to get into something more I like. So just having a more refined focus. I would definitely wish I could go back in time. And obviously, and I love breaks. Eric and I are on the same page there. I would cut back on the number of breaks I was in early on. I've done a great job with not getting into breaks. I think breaking for Gong Show gives me the dopamine hit without the financial impact. So I mean, I get excited when we see the hits, and I kind of move on and go, okay, I'm good. But I still love it. Like the randomness of it and the unknown is, and Eric, it's probably the same for you. Like it's like Christmas. Like what's in the box?
It's entertaining.
And you even if you don't get a hit, you see a like a Celebrini shield come out. You're excited for the person. You wish it was you. I get that part, but it's still like, holy crap, that's history right there. That's awesome. I'd love to see it. And
when I'm I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. Yeah.
I have to, sometimes when you're talking about the stuff, I'm like, I have to like get my disclosure out there. When I see somebody get a nice card that I'm going to break in, I always am like, I may be like, wow, that's a nice card, but I always am a little ashamed at how I'm like, you son of a.
Yeah, I know.
Right. You know, like that. And then I feel like, oh, God,
like I'm a bad person.
You know, like, yeah. So
yeah. And being on the breaking side of it now, where I have no, like, I'm not financially in the break. Mm-hmm. It's almost like freed me to go like, oh my God, that's awesome. And so, you know, and you get the Instagram and you know, a PM or a DM, whatever we're calling it these days, from the guy or gal who hit the card, and they're so excited. And then it's like, okay, that makes me feel good, you know?
Yeah.
But I've been there too. Like, I've got a quick story about, when Breezy and Moose used to do their repacks, whatever they called them, I can't remember now, the nukes and the whatever, Scorpion, I think it was. Mm-hmm. I bought into, Moose posted 2 breaks. I bought into both. Randomized, I get the Oilers in the first one, and I'm like, she's always got a McDavid, a Draisaitl, or a Gretzky in her. So I'm like, I'm golden. No Oiler comes out. The top card was a Quinn Hughes like Future Watch patch auto. The next break, I get the Canucks. Guess what comes out? A Gretzky. Oilers. I was pissed, and like it was one of those where I took the phone, I logged out, I deleted whatnot, and I cranked the phone across the room. I was so mad. And that's when I was like, okay, this is not healthy for me. Like, this is where you know, there's sometimes where you like, I would buy into a case break, get nothing. I can't watch the rest of them because what if the next case? Mm-hmm. So it became this like toxic like. Love hate with a lot of hate, you know, for me. Yeah. So but I hear you. Like there was times I'm like, you son of a bitch, you know, that was mine. You know? Yeah. And then you feel horrible, and you're like, oh, that guy, you know, I know that guy, he's a good dude. So then you're kind of like, okay, I should be happy for him and whatnot. So I get it. I totally where you're coming from.
Yeah. So, yeah. You guys hit that Leonard Caps Ultimate patch rookie auto or whatever.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, with the cool patch. Yeah.
Yeah, it was such a good patch. I was like,
yep. I know.
Yeah.
And the boys were like, was that Eric's? And I'm like, nope.
Yeah.
I sometimes do this to myself when you guys are like, you know, when you're breaking, and I know you guys are in breaks, and I'm like, I should join. And I did it once.
You did it once.
Yay, Mr. Missouri. Yeah, I'm a Missouri collector now. I sometimes will just I'll go through like what like spots are still available, and I'll select it, and then I'll just write it down, and then I'll follow that through the break. Okay, which team did it land on? Which card, or like which you know, whatever it is, and it's like, okay, what cards did they get? And it's either like, yeah, no, that was a good decision, I didn't do it, or damn, I could have had that card, but oh well, like I'm none the wiser for it at the end. But it's sometimes for me, I just like playing that game with myself, and most of the time I'm happy that I didn't buy into the break. I think there's maybe 100%. Even once where I was like, oh, I could have had that, but I don't, and really, is my life changed for the better or worse? Nope. So moving on. But that's the fun that I just, the breaks.
It's becoming a confessional for me on all these things.
It's good. This is what
it is good. It does kind of stick with me, you know, through the week and on some of this stuff. Usually though, by Friday, you know, it's worn off, and I've
built up,
had a few drinks, and I'm, you know, ready to
roll,
ready to throw my hat back in the ring.
Whereas in the past, you probably were like a Monday or a Wednesday. You're like, I bought it in the break. I bought it in the break. Now it's trimmed down to once a week.
Yes. Two times a week, if I'm being honest, because I want to get into it. It wasn't really until, you know, now Tori's doing the breaks, so I gotta jump in on some of those sometimes. But
gotta support the team. That's good.
Yeah. So how about you, Andrew, on your question?
Yeah.
I feel like I've been answering this for 9 episodes. You guys have seen me change direction so many times. I think the biggest thing for me right out of the gate would have been to educate myself before allowing others to educate me through their influence. like I said, like reading these books, reading whether about the player or Jeremy's perspective, or diving into some YouTube videos, I've been finding a lot of really interesting content that I may have passed over in the past, like previously, like Bobby Burrell. I don't know if you guys know Bobby at all, but like his breakdown of like vintage and all these different eras of cards, what's important. It's perspective, but it's very informative. So I think it would just help me make better decisions when acquiring cards that I think are going to be important to me or important in the hobby. That's the other question that I am trying to really pull back on or eliminate from my questioning of when I purchase a card is this important in the hobby or is this important to me? Why should I care where that weight is? Like, do I want to spend an exorbitant amount of money on a card that I'm just going to lose money on? No, I don't. I'd rather, again, like blue chip cards, I think those are cards that, yes, they're equally important to me as they would be to the hobby. And that's always a good buy. Certain other cards with prospecting and thinking that it's an important card. Well, what I think isn't what everyone else thinks. And you may have to live with some of those decisions, in which I have. Timing of buying and selling cards is another big thing that I wish I knew more about. I am kicking myself in the ass repeatedly right now with the Gretzky cards that I sold. Like, it makes me a little sick to my stomach. Some of the cards that I had and that I bought like in his low. Again, we never know where the market's going to be. But had I had a little, like, again, slow down and just don't feel like you just need to dump it, like being kind of that impulse decision maker. Like, I really want to make decisions over the course of a few days or a few weeks versus I've made a decision and I'm sticking to it and let's just get it all out right now. I did that with my Gretzky cards. They have quadrupled in value, some of them. So I had for example, I had the Blast from the Past Refractor in a PSA 9. Sold that card for cash and trade. I want to put it at a value of like $3,000. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I saw people hunting for a PSA 8 willing to pay $5,000. And I'm like, well, I had a 9. That card probably would be worth $8,000 to $9,000 right now. And I was just like, I'm just done with this. And I just and the cards that I got in return on that, I don't have any of them. They're gone too. So, and I traded one of them like that. Remember when I had the canvas McDavid Young Guns and I traded that away for a high gloss renewed Young Guns of a Nick Suzuki card. And I'm like, yeah, this is a great deal. Again, this is when I want to go back and slap myself in the face and be like, you're an idiot and you're making impulsive decisions. So, slowing that impulsive decision making way down is probably the biggest thing that I need to work on. Not only in the hobby, but in life in general. My wife knows that I've made. We want to talk about car purchases. Like, my God, I have made some impulsive decisions with finances over the years, and the more you know. Educate yourself. So those that are just getting into the hobby and that are listening to us, educate yourself before you make any decision. And if the education that you get aligns with some of the influence that you've heard, great, you're making a good decision then. Like, that's just reinforcing that you're making a decision that you're comfortable with. If you buy something on an impulse and then sit on it, you're like, oh, this is great. And you get some thumbs up on Instagram, like, I have an expensive card. Then you go to sell it and like no one is biting. They were probably just being nice that you bought that card. They're like, cool, good for you. Yeah, that's it. So those would be my biggest things. I wish I had educated myself before spending money, because I used to think that everything that I bought was expensive, and And again, also expensive doesn't mean good. It does not mean good. So that's there's my confession. That's what I wish I had done differently if I started. And the nice thing is that you can start today. Today is a new day, and tomorrow will be a new day, and that's part of the journey, like we talked about before, coming full circle. Those blue chip cards that I bought into when I started, I am all about buying into those blue chip cards now because I enjoyed them. And if worst case scenario, like I don't feel like I'm taking a 50% loss on a card that I know it's a great player and it's a good card and I'm happy to have it. And if I need to get rid of it, I'm not going to be crying to the bank. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. So, well, that's...
And pray the rosary and we're all confessing.
That's right. We are good. So,
yeah. Well, I don't need to go see my therapist this week, so I'm all good.
I thought we were your therapist.
You are.
Oh, that's the group text.
That's right. Speaking of, we're starting a new segment today. Thank you so much. Let's. Why don't we get into this?
Yeah, it's too fun.
We're calling it the Collector's Question Period. Your questions, our answers, with the Marcel Manor crew. So thank you to those that did send in your questions on all of the different platforms that we have. We have 7 to go through today. Some really good questions. So why don't we get into our first question? Let's click on, I think this one was on YouTube. Yes.
Good one.
So any recommendations for a first timer at the November Expo? This is from Frozen Card Collective
Ryan
on YouTube.
Yep, Ryan.
Good dude.
So
shout out to Ryan. Yep. Right
on. Gentlemen,
I want Tori to answer this. Sure.
So like I talked to you guys last year, the first year I went, that was, my eyes were, gigantic, didn't know what to do. And I don't think that's a bad thing. It's just so overwhelming. So I'd say mentally prepare yourself to be overwhelmed and don't let it influence. If you have a plan, don't let it affect the plan. So if you're, I always like, and Eric, you and I do, I'm sure you do trade shows for your work, and you see the folks that buzz through the trade show and don't stop and talk to anybody. There's a plan behind that. They're checking out the booths they want to go back to. Now, with Expo, there's always that concept of, if you see a card you like, you better get it because it might not be there 2 minutes later. But it's good. I think it's good to do a run through, check out some booths. Go find out. If you want to go to Mint Inc. or you want to go to Grant or out of the box. If there's a specific booth you want to go to, maybe go to those first. But I think taking just a buzz through and checking everything out isn't a bad thing. To start with, because there's so many cards there. If there's a card in booth A that you wanted and you go back and it's gone, it's probably in booth Z if you go find it. You know what I mean? Like, there's so many hockey cards. Don't be afraid to take a lap around. And you're not going to do a lap around the full expo. I get that. But, maybe you go five rows, check them out. Then you do some slow shopping. But having a plan and not just going in there going, I've got X thousands of dollars to spend, I'm just going to buy because it is hockey card heaven. You're going to get influenced by seeing cards you've never seen before, but kind of having a plan of what you're looking for helps. Don't let it overwhelm you. It's going to. Hang out with the crew. There's gonna be a lot of the Gong Show. We're gonna have a lot of people there. It's that I like last year. I enjoyed that almost more than buying the cards. To be honest, just seeing people walk by and seeing a Gong Show hat and going, hey, or people on Instagram, just kind of chatting things up. So make it social too. Hang out, go to the Jeremy Lee event, go to trade night, and kind of take it all in, enjoy the whole thing. I think is just as much fun as the card buying, in my opinion. So,
yep.
No, I would agree.
And I'll just to what Tori says. I think one of the things that you just touched on, I would try to break it up into areas, right? And say, okay, I'm gonna buzz through this area, and then maybe I'm gonna buzz through another area, and then I'm not gonna worry about seeing everything in one day. Like, just take it take it in sections. There's just so many things to do.
Yep.
There's so many things to see. To the point around like the cards, I would say this, like if you're looking for McDavid or you're looking for Celebrini or you're looking for Bedard, like those, yes, there's going to be a ton of those types of cards. But if there's a vintage card, or for me, like if I saw like a Tom Wilson card, something like that, I had to, I wanted to jump on that because I was concerned, A, that somebody else was going to get it, and B, like I didn't know if I was going to see anything else. And now that I've been around there, there's not a ton of cards in, for that type of player that are out there. So it is a bit of a mix. But yeah, it's just the biggest thing that I think that Tori told me that I always try to keep in mind in the future. And what I remember is just breathe. Like just it is overwhelming. You are going to die with all the stuff that you see.
Yeah. I would agree with all of that. And again, as my first time last year at the Expo, like you said, Tori, it was very overwhelming. And there was a card that I was like, I saw it. I'm like, this won't be here long. And I made a decision to buy it. Saying that, I'm going to go back and just reiterate what we've been saying today is educate yourself, set a budget, don't go over. And not only that, but educate yourself on negotiations and how to negotiate deals. Sticker price, some people, they're sticklers with it, but oftentimes there are deals to be made with vendors. It comes down to they don't want to negotiate with themselves. So you have to come in with some perspective and, again, educate yourself on understanding what comps are, how comps are. If you're looking at a card that comes up very rarely, there's not going to be a lot of room, if any. If it is a commodity card that is flipping 15, 20 times an hour at the show, you're going to have a lot more ability to try and make a decent deal on a card. So just kind of buy into the negotiation strategies. And if you don't feel comfortable with that deal, then walk away from it. Be okay. Be comfortable walking away from a deal. If you find that it's too much or you're giving up too much to get it into a card, that maybe it's just not meant to be. So you don't have to make the deal. One of the biggest parts that I've noticed in collecting, and when I was at Expo, I felt like I had to make the deal because, well, this card will never be there again. Well, the card that I thought was never going to show up again has sold like 5 times on Slab Sharks in the last year. So you can find it. Is it convenient that it's right there in front of you and like you can immediately acquire it? Sure. But also don't feel like, again, part of the chase and the FOMO that you need to buy that card in the moment. If you can't afford it, if you can't, again, if the deal's not right for you at that time, you're not quite sure that that's really market value of that card, then just walk away from it. You'll find the card again. And the big part of this hobby that I'm realizing that I love more and more is that chase. It's not like the acquisition of the card. Once you get it, it's like, okay, I have it. Now what? It's like, I want the chase. I want the chase. So, just be willing to maybe let that chase continue. And sometimes it's just cool to just see cards and be comfortable with just looking at showcase and be like, oh my God, that is cool. Yeah. That is cool. And network like crazy. If you don't make a deal with the dealer, make sure that they know who you are and you know who they are and have that relationship moving forward. Again, like I made deals with Josh Thorne when we were there. I chat with him on Instagram all the time, send him things back and forth. And I know now when I walk up to his booth moving forward, we're going to have that relationship that's there and established, and we could probably make better deals as a result of that. So it's not all about buying cards. So
no. Yeah, totally.
Awesome. So there you go, Ryan. There's a couple answers for you. So hopefully you can digest that. All right, let's stop. Let's pick another question. I think there's Let's go with our good friend Jay, Top Shelf Cookie Sniper, with a keep, sell, burn. Austin Matthews,
Oh my God. It's a
Young Gun
setup.
PSA 10, I'm right.
It's a setup.
A Kucherov PSA 10 and a Makar PSA 10.
Okay.
Tori, what are you going to do?
I am going to, a very biased answer, I'm going to keep the Matthews.
Okay.
I'm going to sell the Makar and I'm going to burn the Kucherov.
All
Simply
right.
because
Well,
I don't know enough about Kucherov to have any skin in the game. So
yeah,
I'll bet you if you ask this on the Gong Show, if you put a poll, Austin Matthews would be burning right now. So about 90% of the time. So
yeah,
just my I Maple Leafs fan, Austin Matthews fan. I'm keeping that, and Makar. I think it would be a good sale, and I don't know enough about Kucherov, and his hobby market isn't great to begin with, so I feel for me that would be the easier one to burn of the three. So no hate.
there you go. Eric.
I am going to burn the Matthews card. There's just so many of them. It's not that nice of a card. I don't love it. I am going to keep the Kucherov.
Interesting.
Because he is an amazing player, and probably one of my favorite sets is that 23, 20, 13, 14 Upper Deck Young Gun set. I love those cards. The Tom Wilson's in there, and I've actually looked at that one. So is the McKinnon. I love though that design from that year. So I'm gonna go ahead and keep that, and then I'm gonna sell the Makar. So yeah, it's gonna be mine.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Burn Matthews as well.
I figured.
Even though he's kind of like on my bubble for my hockey history checklist, which this is a tough one. I'd probably also keep Kucherov only because there are so few of them.
Yeah.
And I would sell the Makar because he's a strong market.
So we're 3 for 3 on selling Makar.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep. And that's a toss up because again, I would probably prefer to keep a Makar in my collection, but a Kucherov, there are so few of them. If we're looking at it through that lens, I'd keep it. So
yeah, so that's where emotion and philosophy come into play, right?
That's right. That was a great psychological evaluation.
He knew what he was doing.
He did. He did.
Usually I see this as F, Marry, Kill.
Right. Same concept,
right? That's the first thing that came into my mind. So
yeah. Well, I like it.
Damn you, Jay.
Let's click on this one. I haven't read it. So, from our friend Chili Hockey Cards. I love his channel. Yeah. So this is a similar question to you guys that discussed a couple episodes ago about the hypothetical scenario of every card all of a sudden being worth $1. Instead, the question would be, would you still collect hockey cards if your monthly hobby budget had to be under $100?
Question. So
Eric.
every card is worth $1. Regardless.
Well, I guess the hypothetical, that's what Eric and I were kind of like, we set a baseline on if every rookie was worth the same amount of money, but then obviously the hype is in play and things like that. But if you had $100 to spend and that's it per month, would you still collect hockey cards?
I would.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Same.
It's the game we love to watch. So, and I'll go back to the 80s and 90s when they were worth about $1. A rookie card. Yeah. And I've still got piles. I've got a pile of Eric Lindros, Topps rookie cards that I'm going to give to Neil because he'll enjoy them, that are worth about $1. But they were worth about $1 when I loved watching the game, and I loved collecting the players that I loved watching. So I would still do it, yes, in a heartbeat.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm the same. I again, there are so many avenues. If I was able to only spend $100 a month, then I could easily find enjoyment within that. I'm starting to find enjoyment with that, with spending a lot less money on cards, because again, the value of the card isn't the card. It's what is the card. And there are a lot of cards out there that I'm like, it's a $30 card, $40 card all day. And you just buy fewer of them. You could maximize that budget and you could buy one $100 card, or you could buy $100 cards.
Right.
There's so many different ways that you could utilize that budget. And I think that that's a great way to look at the hobby. Maybe, war chesting a bit like we've talked about as well. It's Chili, if I'm able to save this monthly budget and only buy one card a year, I would, consider that as well. That big card.
As I think more about this, I would probably look at maybe an insert or a subset, something that I like for a set, and be like, okay, I'm going to try to go after those cards and collect those. So yeah, I definitely think there's ways you can make this work.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely you can.
Good question.
Really good. Well, that'll play maybe into this question, because this is from YouTube. So just found the show and I like it. Well, thank you very much. Please tune in to more episodes. Any thoughts on 80s and 90s cards? I think this could kind of play into Chili's question with the budgeting, and obviously his style of collecting as well. But thoughts on 80s and 90s stuff from you guys?
Yeah, I mean, I still find myself searching for like the 81, 82 Gretzky card, because I just like the design, I mean, and Gretzky I get is way maybe $30, $40, $50 cards, but I wish I had not stopped collecting in the early 90s, and because the inserts in the later 90s, like you've talked about, like Pacific and the Donruss, and when they first started coming out with some of the numbered stuff, I kind of wish I had still been collecting in the late 90s when the first autographs appeared and stuff. So I don't think there's anything. I mean, today obviously you're paying a premium for some of those 90s cards, but I still think there's fun and an enjoyment out of especially the goats of the game. The Gretzkys, the Coffees, the Hall of Famers that still had cards in the 80s. It's kind of cool to see them, and you can get them fairly affordably. So I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I had for a period of time 2 years ago, I was buying up every 81, 82 Gretzky I could find.
Yeah.
For grading purposes, I was going to be a flipper and get a 9. That's a $200 card. I paid $10 for the card, and I can flip it for $200. But I like the design. It was kind of like, oh, these are cool. And then you'd start to see the different wear and tear on them, and how to is this worth grading? So it kind of became a game, a little bit of, I'm going to go look at my Gretzkys and see which one I would possibly submit. So, but I think there's still fun in that,
Absolutely, there is.
And that's when I started getting into hockey cards, was in that in that what would we now call the junk wax era. I just didn't really have access to hockey cards till probably about 88, 89, right around there when Upper Deck came out, and like the O-Pee-Chee sets were starting to come. For me, they were becoming more available. So it was something. Do you remember the Red Army cards that came out?
Sure do.
I don't remember which year that was, but Fedorov was in there.
Yep.
It was 89 O-Pee-Chee, wasn't it? 89, 90 Topps O-Pee-Chee.
Yeah. So I got that set somewhere downstairs. I'm sure it's worth $5.
Right.
So, but cool cards at the time, and the Soviet, the Red Army.
And so this is where I'll put the spin on it. So any thoughts on 89? I always loved them, because again, that's what I grew up as a kid collecting. Now I'm reverting. For a long time, the noise was junk wax. But what is cool now that I'm looking at it through a different lens is the history behind those cards and those sets is something that set the hobby on a completely different trajectory. So I think 80s and 90s cards are incredibly important to the hobby. And I think that there's a lot of historic value. May not be a lot of monetary value, but there's a lot of historic value to those cards. Upper Deck through baseball and hockey in the 90s wrote history for the hobby moving forward, whether it be, you know, with the holograms and all of those things that they started to introduce that were seen on debit and credit cards in the past. And now they're like, well, we need to make sure that we're not getting, you know, a new way of anti-counterfeit cards of sort. But then there's also there's a lot of bad decisions that were made, business decisions, some controversial things that happened, right, with holding back. So I watched a video recently on the 90-91 Upper Deck, the inaugural set. Well, there was a French version of that. And what they did was they're like, well, this is exclusive and short print, not many of them. And then there was the high numbers and all of these different avenues that they tried to generate that artificial scarcity.
Right.
But I'm pretty sure that those cards were printed for years and years after they started making them, right? So the video that I was watching, they talked about the French set selling for like upwards of like $750 a hobby box in the 90s. In the peak of junk wax era, $750 for a hobby box,
right,
because it was said to be very hard to find. So I think that there's some really cool things that you could, depending on what it is that you're collecting or why you're collecting them. I personally want to go out and buy a sealed box of the first set of Upper Deck to be like, this is what changed the hobby. Because that's a really cool story to tell. Right. In the 80s, when they were trying to play with different designs and stuff, I mean, there were some really bad designs with O-Pee-Chee and Topps, but again, there's some really important cards in those years. The box bottoms, those are really cool cards. If you can find a cool graded copy of a box bottom card, those were hard to find, and they're hand cut, but PSA grades them because they understand that it's not a sheet cut, it's a box bottom cut card. Some really cool stuff there. And then the 90s stuff just exploded, right? Mid 90s is where you'll see all of those cool parallels, the numbered cards, the foiling changes. That's when you really saw that stuff. So I think we're all big on these cards. They just, from a financial perspective, they just don't hold a lot of value, but value money wise, but not necessarily value. I wouldn't dismiss the intrinsic value of the card. It's like they're awesome. So if that's what you're into in collecting, like, all the power to you. So awesome. I love that. Okay, we'll get through a few more here. Our friend Arctic Ripper would like to hear your thoughts on auto parallels. For me, whether an auto is a base auto or a parallel of the same card doesn't really make a difference to me value-wise. I added that in parentheses. It's a way in which it's the auto which should matter. There are, of course, some limited exceptions, such as seismic gold autos, which are just stunning versus a base platinum auto, which I think we all agree. Right. Seismic gold autos are incredible, but I'll dive into this one first. I would say that parallel autos versus base autos, if you're looking just for an auto of a player that you want to collect, you're going to save a lot of money going after just a base auto. Right. When you buy into the parallels or, those subsets, that's when you're starting to buy in the manufactured scarcity. The only thing that changes is the color and the number on the card. The autograph of the player that you're collecting doesn't change. Right. So if you just love collecting autos of players that you love watching, I would even consider an authenticated in-person auto being just as good. Sure. I guess it comes down to, what do you value more? Do you value more the scarcity or rarity of a card? But when we say that, like, how many Wayne Gretzky autos are in a set every year? Hundreds, right? Like, it's just like, I almost feel overwhelmed at how many autographs you can go and find of any given player. Yep. So if you just want an auto of a player, go for the base. There's nothing that's where your value lies. And in terms of what I'm kind of reading from Arctic Ripper here, is that's where, if the value is the autograph itself and not the parallel, then by all means jump on the base cards, or even an in-person auto that's been authenticated if you just want an autograph of that player.
Yeah, I'd agree. I mean, as a platinum guy, all the parallels in platinum, you've got the Emerald Surge, you've got the Seismic Gold, Orange Checkers, blah, blah, blah. And then you look at some of the, and maybe I'm wrong, but just me, like, I can't stand the Cosmic Autos. And you can kind of see that in the sales and the value. A Cosmic is, what is that, numbered out of 65, I believe?
Yeah.
The Red Prism Autos sell better than the Cosmics. Cosmics a lower pop, out of 65 compared to 99 or whatever Red Prism is. Maybe I've got the numbers wrong, but Violet Pixels is maybe 99, maybe Red Prism's 65 or 75, whatever.
It changes every year, it seems.
But the Cosmic Autos just don't interest me. So I kind of agree to a point where, they it doesn't matter on the parallel. I do see that, obviously he brings up Seismic Gold. Clearly, that's the I hate to say it, the gold standard, not to have a play on words of at least for platinum and a lot of collectors, but even looking at like the Violet Pixels or the Red Prism, if you want to get a nicer version, those are good options too beyond the base. So to Andrew's point, base, if you're just looking to get into a player you like, base autos, especially in platinum, are great. Probably the most value positive card you can get into is a platinum base auto for a player compared to, like, say obviously you can't touch the cup. I mean, like base ultimate autos are good too. There's a lot of good base autos. So find a design you like and go with it. For a base auto, who cares? If it's a PC guy, you're doing fine. But I would definitely say I wouldn't agree with there's no difference value wise. There definitely is based on the serial numbering and availability. You're going to pay more for a Emerald Surge than you are an Orange Checkers. And there's another one, Orange Checkers. Everyone craps on Orange Checkers, and you can kind of see it. Like, people prefer a Seismic Gold over an Orange Checkers and a Red Prism over a Cosmic. So it's all just piece of personal decisions and the peace of mind you have with what you want to spend, in my opinion. So
I think there's just so I'll take it. So I'll look at Stature for a minute. Stature, there's a ton of parallels, and I think there's a couple that I tend to like. Like the orange and the red. Those are a couple that I like. But like the greens, I'm not really that crazy about, unless you got like a player on the Wild or the Vancouver, like you can do a color match or something like that. So I like looking at the base autos and going that route, but I do tend to probably favor more of the autos, the parallels that are numbered. It's just that it's an easier story to tell when there's a number on there. I mean, for me anyway. So, but like I said, if it's a parallel that I'm not really crazy about, then I would rather have the base. Yep. So,
hope that helps. 3 varying opinions.
Yep. That's what we're here for.
Great. That's right. Okay, I think we have a few left. These are great questions. We'll go to Discord from Steel Ad. Pick a player from your own team that each of you think may have a breakout season this year and the impact they may have on the player's card market. I think we already touched on mine. I know what I'm saying. Slav all day. Slav will have the breakout season and his card market. We saw it a bit in the playoffs last year. It's going to increase. I think you'll see his market go. Well, I'm going to guess if he's 40 goals by the end of the season, 30% increase overall over the year. So that's what I'm going with. Good. Sorry.
When I read this, I immediately thought of Urov, Danila Urov. Rookie last year, had a decent year, but probably is going to play second line center, which should elevate his scoring. So what's it going to do to the player market? No clue, because he doesn't really have one. He's got some people chasing him just because of the prospecting. I've some of the cards, like when I bought a few boxes of SBA, I hit a couple of his future watches. I'm sitting on him just because it is the hometown team and I see potential there. I don't know if that, if he scores 20 goals, 60 points, and has a 50% faceoff win, he's like a Joel Eriksson, just younger. I think he's going to be a solid two-way center, so it's probably going to limit his market, but definitely see a bump over what he's got now.
Yeah.
So it kind of gives me something to look forward to. To also watch him play and see him improve, especially with more minutes and better teammates. More offensively gifted teammates. I think it could be interesting. The few games he filled in for Eck, when he was playing with Kaprizov, were pretty exciting to watch. Like two dynamic guys. So that's my pick. You're off.
Nice. Eric?
I'm going with Cole Hudson.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to probably start as either, I'm going to guess like a fourth, second D line pairing. Will definitely, I think he'll lead the power play by the end of the year. Watched him already. He's super smooth. Does give up some goals, but I mean, when it comes to defensemen in the hobby, it's going to be about scoring. He's going to score goals. And I would say that there is a decent chance, not even an outside chance. I think there's a decent chance that he wins the Calder next year. So he's definitely in the top 5. He's going to be in Series 1. Mm-hmm. So he's going to be a good chase there. I know he's a defenseman, but yeah, he's going to be the guy that I think is going to really move the power play as he gets a little bit more experience. And obviously the name doesn't hurt. So
yeah, there's a few of them in the NHL now.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
All right, our last question of the day from Gunther Cards. How do you guys store or display your cards? I need to find a better way to display my top cards. Also, thoughts on iced coffee. That's my go-to. Well,
I hate iced coffee.
You hate it?
I hate it. I cannot bring myself to drink it. So I'm the guy when it's 99 degrees out and it's 2:00 in the afternoon. I'm going to Starbucks and getting a hot coffee. So I wish I liked it, but I don't. So as far as the display stuff, that to me is I just stick stuff in boxes. It's one of the things. The wall that you see behind me, we're going to be making some changes in here. I'm going to start displaying some stuff. So, yeah, I'm not good at that. I also need help on that. So, what do you guys think?
Andrew, you've got a better story to tell than I do. I'm kind of an Eric's.
Yeah,
it's a work in progress for me as well.
I will say, again, it's still a work in progress. I mean, I started with these displays behind me, and I've built on from there. I love displaying my cards. I want it to be a showstopper in my hobby room. This is kind of, obviously it's an AI rendered image, but it's pretty spot on to what I've been able to create now. So I took photos of my basement and plugged it into ChatGPT. So use AI to your advantage and give them ideas as to what you have, what you want to build and come up with. And I love having displays and an area that I can sit and look at my cards. And so
that looks great.
Gunther, use if you're looking for a little spot, it doesn't have to be this elaborate. I mean, we don't have kids and I kind of get the basement to myself for the most part. So I've set up a nice room for me to read, for me to do business and work stuff on the computer, and also watch a hockey game, sit back and enjoy my cards. If you've only got a small room or a small space in your room, take a photo of it and let the creative juices flow in ChatGPT or any of the AIs that you use. And it'll help kind of build that get that idea into something physical, and then you can try and replicate it. I'm a big fan of that, and it's really helped this space grow for me. I've spent a lot more time kind of putting money into the space than I have into cards lately, and I love it.
Great.
It creates a nice room to hang out in.
What color paint is that? Is that your true color?
It is. So let me see if I can spin. Yeah. So there's the true color of the room. There's a the chair.
Is that like a mushroom color? Or
no? It's from Home Depot. It's called cracked pepper. So it is like a dark blue, gray, blackish color.
Yeah.
And I thought it was going to be too dark for this space. Now that I've painted it all and I've got, I left the white trim. It looks really good.
Very warm. Like their pictures look very warming, like a warm tone. Yeah.
Yeah. That's exactly what I was going for. And then obviously you can, I'm not an interior designer or decorator, but it kept pumping out ideas that I had. And I was like, I don't like that. I like that. And you just kind of can tell it, prompt it, change this, change that, put this over here. And
you've got Louis all worked up now. He actually started taping off the places he's going to start cutting into his wall last night while we were in the breaks.
Love it.
And the blue tape comes out and he's measuring stuff. And I showed him like where I sit today is my son's gaming desk. And he and his girlfriend at some point in the next year will go get their own place. And so I sent Louis a picture and he's got plans for my studio now, and
love it.
So it's like, I want to do the same. The only displays I have are those two, you can kind of see in the background from that group at the Expo that Neil turned me on to,
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. But I want to do something, similar. I've got to display some of my, like you, Eric, I've got so many cards that aren't worth displaying. They're commodity, all the platinum, numbered cards, but I have, 20, 25 I'd love to put up and just have out and make sure they're protected. And I'm in a basement, so there's no sunlight coming through, so I'm not worried about fading out. But I want to get the studio section set up, so I don't have to every Sunday I've got to come down here and set everything up. I just want it done, and I can just push play when we do these, or if I want to do a pack opening or something. But the background I want to do more displays. I mean, you can see the albums and the rock and roll stuff I have very well displayed.
Yeah.
Cards not so much.
Give me one of those album names, Tori. What do we got? What are we working
so right
with
here
there?
You have Iron Maiden. This would have been the Wicker Man tour. So and that's the backstage pass. I got to go meet him.
Oh, nice.
Rage for Order, Queensryche, Rage for Order right there.
Okay. All right.
Queensryche.
Okay.
A lot of Queensryche. Right. I'm a big Queensryche fan.
Okay.
So that
I have one behind me here.
Oh yeah, you too.
That's my U2 War canvas. It's not
album.
Not an album cover, but it's it just sits there. Oh, I gotta hang that up.
So I'm kind of in Eric's boat. I've got to figure out what I want to display, and I do.
Yeah.
I hate coffee. I'll be admitting it. Love the smell. I can only do iced coffee, and it's got to have about a gallon of milk and about 6 packets of sugar in it. So I don't drink iced coffee very often, but I do iced tea. Got the little Crystal Light packets. I like those. So, but I'm kind of jealous of coffee drinkers because I just don't get it. But we're all different for a reason. So
that's right. And I love coffee in all forms. So caffeine, hot, cold, doesn't matter. I'll take it.
So on the cruise ship, I bought the unlimited soda package. It's like $6 a day, and they give you a cup with a microchip on it. And you just walk up to a machine, you set it down, and it says "Yep," and they had Diet Dr. Pepper. And I think the first 7 days, I was probably drinking 6 to 8 cups of Diet Dr. Pepper a day. And on day 8, I went, I can't do another goddamn drink of Diet, and I've not had one until last night. So it was a week since I had a Diet Dr. Pepper, and I grabbed one last night because I knew we were going to be late with the breaks, and I don't know if I'd do it again. So it almost became like I have to go get a soda because it was $7 a day, But that was my vice, and it maybe broke me of drinking Diet Dr. Pepper 4 times a week now. So we'll see.
All right.
One a week I can do. Yeah. So.
There you go. So that's our very first collector's question period.
Fun.
So thank you so much for sending those questions in. We won't be doing it weekly, but we will post it up from time to time and just get you guys to send in your questions, and we'll do what we can. So
cool.
Appreciate the participation.
I don't know if you guys probably can't see this,
no.
but on Sports Cards Live, I just saw a notification pop up on the Flippers Vortex.
Yeah. It's a short.
So, yeah, it's some short. I'm gonna go watch it after this.
Well, there you go.
It's good.
Just interesting. It
That's
just showed
awesome.
up. It's like somebody's listening to
they're
us.
listening.
Weird, right?
Yeah.
All right, so we're in the final segment of our show today. This section of our show brought to you by our friend over at Display My Card, Nathan, displaymycard.com. It's where you can take photos of your cards from your phone and turn them into studio quality images like you see here. So head on over to displaymycard.com. Currently, I believe we still have the little promotion going on. If you type in CNC50 at checkout, you'll get a free month of the starter plan. So that's for the first 50 accounts to sign up. So head on over to displaymycard.com, use that promo code, and start getting some great images of your cards for your social media displays. So, gentlemen, today we've got a few cards that we've picked up. We will start with Tori. And your first card.
Yeah. So while I was gone, this arrived. So Matthew Nye's green PMG out of 10. Nyes has kind of become my focus point. I think he's gonna have the year you're hoping out of Slav. I think Nyes is gonna have a similar 30 to 40 goal a year playing on the first line, and I spent I'm not gonna say a lot of time, but sitting on the pool deck, if I wasn't reading a book or just chilling, I was watching YouTube videos of highlights of his, and every highlight just got better, and it just kind of was like, okay, that's the guy I'm gonna start buying more into. So I got a nice PMG. With our, and we'll pump Display My Card a little bit more. They give you an option to create your own custom background. So I dropped my logo on that one. So very cool updates that he's done to the system. Great backgrounds, customizable, lock your backgrounns in. So so I thought I'll go with my logo on that one. So that was the first one that arrived while I was gone, and then to tie into my platinum addiction. Picked this one up super cheap, like well below comps off of PSA's eBay store. So someone posted it and must have wanted to move on from it, and it was like $150 under comps. So I couldn't not hit the buy button quick enough. And then obviously for the football and basketball fans, the I think they call that the color blast background. It's kind of cool looking with the blue and white again. Display My Cards. So. So those were my two pickups while I was gone on vacation that arrived, and happy to add them. Fits my current plan very well, so sticking to the plan.
That's great. Eric, we got one from you or two from you. Oh, this looks so nice. Which one's this?
So a couple cards here. So I picked this up in a Slab Sharks auction last week. And I love the cosmic cards. Mm-hmm. I think definitely for display they look amazing.
Yep.
And they're obviously the Tom Wilson is just spoke to me. So love it. Love the display from that DMC did here. Really like the background. So it just pops overall. So,
it looks really good.
Yeah.
And then your second card. Beauty.
Yeah.
Great card.
Yeah. So I got this in a GP Sports Cards break a couple of weeks ago. I think it was like the first one I had done in quite some time. And it's I really like Ingrained. I think it's a little bit underrated in my opinion. Also, I'm would really like to move this for a Crosby Stature Auto or a OBO Stature Auto. So I'm definitely looking to see what I can do with this. But I do like the card. I love the stick, the auto, obviously. So and obviously the Display My Card background. Really like it. So it's a nice card.
That's almost like the pond hockey background, right? From flat a little bit. Yeah, that looks good.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Yep. So,
nice. Right on. I have one pickup. My blue chip card. So I managed to. I was sitting on this for a while, and I decided that I just had to pull the trigger on it. 1985 OPG Mario Lemieux. in a PSA 6. So this is where my knowledge that I'm learning from Jeremy and David Chase and some of the other folks that really like to pump up the eye appeal on cards came into play. This is a very, very well centered card for a PSA 6. This is where I'm ignoring the grade and just looking at the card.
That looks like a great 6.
I can't go wrong. I looked at the back. There's some very minor edge wear, maybe a bit of a pen mark or a stain. It didn't get a mark designation or a stain designation, so that may have just been what affected the grade overall if they didn't want that designator, which I'm happy with. But I feel like I picked this up at the right time. Before I was, like I told you guys, I was concerned that these cards were going to just start skyrocketing in value, because it seems like a lot of them are. And I wanted to get it in and checked off the checklist before it went to an unattainable value. So that's my pickup for the week.
Yeah, so. That's a great card. I've been lucky enough on alt to get 2 Lemieux rookies, a PSA 7. I paid $140 for, because no one bids on alt for hockey. So you want sneaky, go look at alt for some of that. And now I'm giving the secrets away. But
there's the secrets out now.
Yeah, great. Like it wasn't out before, but the vintage hockey other than Gretzky, and if you go look at alt, there's 5 to 10 Gretzky cards a week on alt. Half of them have that IP auto. It drives me nuts. I would never in a million years have a Gretzky rookie IP auto. No offense to those who like it. It's just not for me. And but there's a lot of great vintage on alt to watch. So just peace of mind. Keep an eye on that if you're looking for some value. It's there to be had. So, but that Lemieux design, I just when you talk about like iconic cards, and Josh and I talked about iconic players and iconic cards, that's right up there with recognizable, like the Gretzky. You look at that and you immediately know it's a Lemieux rookie. So I love that card. So that's the 6 you have that looks like an 8. And obviously we're just looking at it from a digital photo, but you've seen it closer, and eye appeal matters. Yeah,
it's clean. Yeah, it's good.
Would you guys? So that brings up a good. Would you guys ever do the NBA, the eye appeal review with that Mike? Is it Mike Baker?
I've thought about it, but at the end of the day, I think we're all we all know what a good card looks like, and if I'm not trying to sell it for a premium,
is it just another designation like the grade?
Exactly. Yeah.
Exactly. Yep.
I can appreciate what they're doing, but for me, I don't need the designator to say that it's a high appeal. And like the resale value is where that would come into play, right? Someone is verified. This is better than 85-90% of the cards on the market.
I wonder when like the Beckett's and PSAs of the world aren't going to add that to their grading.
I don't know.
Because
time will tell.
Is that something they can charge more money for and say you want an eye appeal grade, on top of it?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I have a Gretzky PSA 2 in the Fanatics vault. Fanatics, and one of the reasons why I got it was it had one of the eye grade back in the day from when it was PWCC. So it's the PSA 2, and it's got the 30%, which isn't great, but I mean it
helps. It's
a designator. So
cool.
I like seeing those. Especially when there's like thousands of cards, from a pop count. I mean,
it sets it out.
Differentiator.
Kind of, absolutely. So great.
Cool.
Well, this is the longest show we've done. Officially. But it's always great sitting down with you guys on a Sunday and chatting cards and just seeing where the conversation goes. So, anything else before we take off today?
No. Yeah, good chat. Good catching up.
Like and subscribe. Do us. We appreciate all the comments. Would love more reviews on iTunes. I think we did get one, but we appreciate everybody's support, and definitely looking to do this more.
Right on. Well, tune into next week. We're going to have Carter and Justin sitting down with us for the Saskatoon card experience.
Yep. Card collector experience.
Card collector experience.
We'll get it straight by then. Yeah.
We'll get it straight by then. Yeah, it's going to be great sitting down and talking with them, seeing what's coming up this fall. So, like Eric and Tori said, if you like the show, leave a thumbs up, hit the like button, hit the notification bell to know when these episodes drop weekly. Please leave a review if you like what you're hearing. If there's anything that you'd like to hear moving forward, please let us know. We are all ears and we're here for the collector community. So until next week, have a great week, everybody. Talk to you soon. Take care.
Yeah.
See you.